All right. Ooh, this looks like a long one. All right. So, oh yeah, I remember this one. This one is the ramp. Um, Pretty neat deck actually. But I got a pretty good hand. I got lots of discard going on here. I got Stirrings and Lantern. So I've got some time going on. I'll play the Lantern first. I figure I didn't need to, excuse me, discard anything yet because they have such a slow start, and I saw the overgrowth on top. So I wasn't too worried. I figured it was ramp, and that means that they're probably going to be trying to play ramp spells more than anything. So now, yeah, here's my choices. I grabbed an overgrowth, of course. That's really my only choice. I still have 2 more discard spells to go. And Abrupt Decay on top. I don't really need the Abrupt Decay. But I couldn't, mill it away. Yeah, I grabbed the Garruk because that's the biggest threat here. Opponent hates my deck with all his forces. And I go to Stirrings. And I grab a bridge. Woot. So I put Inventors Fair, Extirpate, Opal. What did I put on the bottom? Oh, Stirrings, Fair, Extirpate, and Opal on the bottom. There. And I have a bridge, and I have a bridge on top. So I'm pretty safe, actually. I don't think... Well, my opponent does have a way around bridge by attacking with Spellskite and using Kessig Wolf Run, but I'm okay. I don't know why my opponent didn't give up sooner here. Yeah, go ahead and Thoughts use that last card out. And really, at this point, I've got the lock. I mean, it's done. The game is over. I go ahead and play a second Ensnaring Bridge because I knew my opponent had primal commands. Here, 1 second. Alright, so yeah, draw Ethergrid. And so now I have a win con. And I need to take care of Nissa. Because what I'm worried about here is that my opponent might be able to use Nissa, thin out their deck, and that way they have more threat density in the deck, which I do not want. Because then they might be able to have more threats than I can mill in a single time. So now I start making it so Nissa cannot ultimate. So yeah, really, at this point, the game is over. I'm just going to kill Nissa just to be safe, and then I can kill my opponent with Ethergrid. I still love having a 1-of Ethergrid in the deck. I mean, it's so good. And I've got like a Loctite lock going on now. There's no getting out of it. Yeah, with Needle I named Wild Speaker, but really I should have named Kessig Wolf Run, just in case. But I didn't know at the time. And there it is on top. Yeah, I go ahead and I surgical all the primal commands just to make sure. Yeah, and that's it. So my opponent concedes. We start talking about the YouTube channel. I tell him I'm gonna upload the game to the YouTube channel at some point, and because of that, my opponent's like, "All right, yeah, sure, we'll go to game 2 then with sideboard." So we go to game 2. Before that, my opponent wasn't gonna go to game 2. Again, another longer one, I guess. I had to mulligan. It's not bad, I guess. There's a blood moon in my opponent's hand. I guess that's why they kept it. Which blood moon actually would have been kind of poopy. Between the choice of Titans or blood moons, yeah, I chose Titans. I chose blood moon. And opponent top decks a blood moon. And I go ahead and thought seize that too. Let's get rid of that. I make a huge mistake here in a second. Yeah, this needle right here, I name Voyaging Satyr. And there's a spell guide on top of my opponent's library. I let them draw it. So now they technically could win just by getting, what's the name of that card? Keswick Wolf Run, which they play Titan. And there's the Keswick Wolf Run, and that's when I realized I've made a mistake. I've made a huge mistake. I sack Inventors Fair, and I go get Bridge because I have to get that just to live. And now I'm like doing all sorts of self-mill to try to dig into a needle or a ghost quarter to take out Wolf Run. Yeah, opponent takes a while to think here. And rather than attack and Wolf Run, my opponent tries to build up to get one, big good Wolf Run in. And now I take a little while to think. I'm trying to figure out, do I need to mill? Do I need to shuffle myself? What do I got to do? So I mill, and then I shuffle up, and there's a shredder. And that's not going to do it. I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm about to take a ton of damage. Yeah, opponent attacks under bridge, and then Wolf Runs hits me for 10. And so now, I'm just trying to self-mill to survive here. And I draw Inventors Fair. This card, God, this card is awesome. And so I can pay 4, sack it, go get a needle, shut off Wolf Run. I win. All I need my opponent to do is not draw something awesome off after they shuffle. So yeah, I have to use my lantern to shuffle away, shuffle up their deck. And fortunately, they had a Creeping Corrosion on top, and I had to make them shuffle. And fortunately, when they shuffled, they drew an Overgrowth. And that was just enough to make it so I can get my lantern back, and now I've got the lock back online. Things are good. And at this point, the game's over, honestly. But my opponent stays in there. And I tell my opponent, I don't mind if you concede. It's cool. But they were a good sport about it. Yeah, there was a Nature's Claim on top of my opponent's library. Yeah. There was a creeping corrosion and a what was that other one? Primal command on top, and I had used both shredders to get rid of it. But I've got enough stuff that I'm pretty safe. Now I've got Ether Grid, so now I have a clock for my opponent. I use Pixis to get rid of Emrakul so there's no shuffling back. And opponent concedes. And that's it. Hopefully, I don't know, enjoyed the game.